Big news today. Jimmy Kimmel got fired. We had 4 Republicans that didn't vote the way we hoped and wanted them to, when it's supposed to be them voting for us, right? Not just for themselves. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. Oh man, I got a doctor's appointment that just popped up too. Weather. What, is it gonna rain tomorrow? Oh, now it says no. Friday it's gonna be 55 chance. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? How you doing? So I know everybody's gonna be talking about ABC firing Jimmy Kimmel, and I just want to I want to share something with you guys because you know I've loved TV ever since I was a kid. You know, freaking Donnie for everywhere. I've wanted to be in films or something to do with the film industry, the TV industry for a long, long time. So when you watch as much TV as I have, you're new here, Hope. Hi, Hope. Nice to meet you, Hope Arising. When you watch as much TV and movies as I have, you kind of figure out how things go, right? And the funny part about this is, so ABC fired Jimmy Kimmel. We'll get to it later on. But the funny part that I find is, you know, writers write the show, writers approve the show, producers approve the show. It's, you know, people think when Jimmy Kimmel or any late night talk show host for that matter walks out there and starts doing their monologue, that they wrote it in their head or they wrote it on paper and they're just doing their own monologue. No. It's been written down, it's been approved, and it's been put on their teleprompter so they can just read their jokes. And the people that are working there know to hit that applause button so people will cheer for whatever he says. And so what I find funny is this, you know, Jimmy Kimmel, while he's a piece of shit asshole, and Donnie wants to run the show. While Jimmy Kimmel is a piece of shit asshole, he may have had part in writing the jokes, but he wasn't the only one writing the jokes. Okay. It was the writers, the producers, everybody involved knew the monologue was going to go on. Hey, Donnie, get down. Here, you want a treat? I'm talking here. Okay, there's your salmon. Panda, come get your treat. And so the worst part of this is they did this all. They did this all, folks, and fired him. But you know, I saw somebody had shared that what's his name the one from with Robert De Niro, what do you call Meet the Fockers, right? Whatever his name is. I used to watch a lot of his movies. He made some good movies. Ben Stiller, that's his name. He said, "I can't. This is awful." And you know, people said no, he deserved it. But no, I think I understand what Ben Stiller means by this is awful. You see, the Democrats have been paying through channels and whatnot to get. If you notice, all of Hollywood are liberals. You wonder why? And you know, if they become Republican or conservative, they get fired right away. And the reason why is, you know, the Democrats make sure money gets paid out to certain industries and, you know, with tax breaks or what have you. And they also give money to pharmaceutical companies who then advertise on these shows. And it's all backdoor politics. They do that so that way movies, TV shows, and the news are all left, and they promote what Democrats want. And so what Jerry or Ben Stiller was saying is, look, hey, you know what? It's BS because the liberals promised to take care of us. They paid us to talk this way, and now they just threw Jimmy Kimmel under the bus and canceled his show, hoping that Republicans will be happy and come back to it. So that's my thoughts. That's my opinions. That is not fact or fiction. I don't know which it is. So just so y'all know, that's my thoughts. as a person who watches a whole lot of TV. That's my thoughts. But you can think how you want to think. Think how you want to think. Another thing that happened today, and I have a congressman. His name is Congressman McClintock. Tom McClintock from California. One of the only Republicans here. And for a year or two now, I've been trying to get a hold of his office. You call, they don't answer the phone. You leave messages, they don't call you back. I finally got a hold of him in person, and he promised me that he gave me a phone number to his the person in charge of his office, and said, Mr. Tudor will be expecting your call tomorrow. So I called the next day. He wasn't even in the office. Not only that, he never returned my call. And I started thinking, I really should run for Congress because this guy's a douche. And then I would go on Facebook and see comments all over the place. Every time he would type something, how come you don't talk to your constituents? How come you don't talk to your constituents? How come you ignore us? And it made me think about it even more. And then today, when he voted for Ilhan Omar to not be censured, my congressman was one of the 4 idiots. He's supposed to vote what his constituents want, not his idea. Or, I guess we vote in the person that we think would vote in our best favor. And he hasn't been. He's a douchebag now to me. He's already been a jerk, right? Especially when you lie to me just to get me out of your face. When I promise somebody I'm going to do something, I do it. That's my best quality. Do I have a lot of bad qualities? Yeah. But at least I always keep my promises. And I do my best not to screw people over. So, Tom McClintock, you're a big no in my vote. And, hold on, Donnie. Oh my, how many times today? This is like 4th time I've had to get Donnie unstuck today. He keeps going around the tree outside. But anyways, let's get to something that I can play for you real quick so I can help this little brat get unstuck. Actually, so here's the first one we're gonna do. Would you hire me for? Actually, hope I am gonna hire you for my office staff if you'll accept. And so everything I just said, Jasmine Crockett said Kimmel hurt MAGA's feelings by holding a mirror up, so the First Amendment is out the window and his show is pulled. Who is going to tell them that? That is the definition of being a snowflake. No, a lot of us complained, and it wasn't us that fired him. ABC had every right to keep him. They didn't have to get rid of his show. They could have said, F all you guys. But you know what? He didn't. He didn't. They didn't. They fired him. That was on ABC, not us. So STFU. Shut the fuck up, bitch. I'll say it. Even though I need to start cleaning up my act a little bit. I'm going to play this video real quick. Damn, I wanted to hear it. I'll be right back. I got to go and hook Donnie. Let's watch this.
Go ahead. I'm just because are they sending everyone home? What's happening on the scene? The show would have been taping within the next hour. So people would be there. Yes, this is very abrupt. Very abrupt.
And this is all about jawboning. It's all about public pressure. Actually revoking FCC licenses is extremely difficult. I wrote about this last fall when candidate Donald Trump was talking on the campaign trail about wanting to punish stations by taking away their licenses. And throughout the history of the country, ever since we've had broadcast television, license revocations are extraordinarily rare. Once you've got one, you're pretty much guaranteed to keep it. So the threat is not that the FCC is actually going to take away a license. It's about the public noise. It's about the shame and embarrassment. It's about Brendan Carr going on podcasts and embarrassing ABC. There's a term for this. It's jawboning. And that's what we've seen happen today in a very real way. Trump vowed retribution on the campaign trail. And he's getting it. He's getting it against entertainers and comedians. But Aaron, for every reaction.
Once again, it wasn't Trump that did this. President Trump did not do this. ABC fired him. And once again, ABC writers wrote the joke. Maybe Jimmy Kimmel wrote the joke as well. Then it went to the producers who said yes and put that joke in the show. He read it off a teleprompter. It's not just Jimmy Kimmel. It was the whole ABC show staff who put that on air. They should have all been let go. What happened is liberals, people on TV learn from this. They will drop you. They will drop you like a red-headed stepchild. Isn't that the saying or whatever it is? They don't care about you. They don't. So yeah.
There is a counter reaction.
Process
Stephen
Timmy's-
Colbert has already been joking about getting hired somewhere else.
They've been looking for a
Those
reason to
jokes
fire
mask
him.
a real,
I
very,
can
very
see
real
that too, though.
intention, right? Where will he get picked up instead? If Kimmel parts ways with ABC, and again, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Kimmel's contract is coming due soon. Kimmel will probably end up.
Okay, and Hope is going to get mad at us because I'm going to keep talking real quick. I'm going to keep stopping it. Here's another thing to remember. Even though his ratings were bad, he still has a lot of fans. And they're blaming this on President Trump. And the reason why they're blaming this on President Trump is the next time those people go to vote, they're like, I'm not going to vote for the Republicans because they got my show taken off the air.
Somewhere else. And if big, old-fashioned mainstream media companies don't have
Probably,
the
girl.
guts to employ these people, then we're going to see startups start to flourish. You know, we
Yes.
talk about the Substack era with people launching newsletters and live streams on
Oh,
YouTube.
you mean like
we're going to see
Rumble?
more of that
Yeah.
if these old-fashioned media companies can't stand a little bit of pressure from the president.
Like all of us doing our own shows
but
now.
it is stunning to see such a thing happen and to show this world that we're living in. Van Jones is joining me now on the phone. So Van,
Fuck Van
you know,
Jones.
all of a sudden you see this headline: Jimmy Kimmel put on hold indefinitely by ABC News after the head of the FCC goes on a far-right podcast and says we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And do you think in your mind it's possible this might not be real?
We have that video clip coming up soon, so we'll know.
I don't know what's real or what's not real. I do know that a news organization anywhere in the world has a responsibility to stand up to government bullying, to government censorship. That is what we
It's on
do.
the screen now, Hope.
That is why we exist. Not to knuckle under, not to do what we're told, but to stand up and to say, listen, if you want to pull these licenses, then we're going to go to court and we'll be in the court of public opinion. But you don't get to go on a podcast and set policy for American media, for an American media institution that's been around a lot longer than me, you, or Donald Trump. This is a red line that has been crossed for our industry, for the First Amendment, for the right of people to speak. There was nothing hateful about what was said, and even hateful
Wow,
speech
nothing
is protected.
hateful about it. I didn't even watch what he said, so I don't even know what's hateful about it or not. But
not acceptable. If you are going to run a media organization that's called a news organization, you have to stand up to government bullying anywhere in the world, and certainly in the United States.
Well, the job should be to, speak truth to power, even when there are people who don't like the word truth anymore. All right, Van, stay with us. I want to bring in the Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia because he is the ranking member on the House Oversight Committee. And Congressman, I appreciate your time. We have
okay, I can't play any more of this CNN BS. Can you? And here, folks. So I am not going to play this video. It's about Charlie Kirk, his last moments. It's a great thing to watch. I don't feel, I've been saying forever that this isn't the right place for all this Charlie Kirk stuff to do. I want you to see it from the Charlie Kirk people, and not me making anything over it. This is for Charlie Kirk and his crew to give out. So I put the link in the chat to where you can watch this clip. I personally don't think it fits this show right now. But God bless Charlie Kirk. God bless his family, and everybody pray for him. Excuse me. All right, so breaking news: the U.S. House rejects removing Ilhan Omar from her committee and censuring her after she justified Charlie Kirk's assassination 214 to 213. The 4 Republicans joined them, and it was Representatives Mike Flood, Jeff Hurd, and this is the big name to see right here, Tom McClintock. Tom McClintock is my congressman. And like I said earlier in the show, I have been upset with him for a while. I have overheard him say, I'm a guaranteed win. It's all Republicans in our district. And I know that the Republican Party of Madera are going to go against me and fight hard because honestly, they never helped me when I ran for. They pushed me into running for county supervisor, and they never helped me when I did that. And then, yes, I did get a DUI during that, and I still got like 14, maybe 15% of the vote. So I am now even more in the consideration of running for Congress. Will I win? Who the heck knows? Will I change some views? Maybe I can change his mind. Maybe get him. Then yeah, who knows? Looks like Walt Disney threw up on her head. Walt Disney threw up on her head. What am I? Oh, Ilhan Omar. Okay, I gotcha. What's up, Andy? So this is laughing my ass off. CNN and Brian Stelter are melting down after ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel off there. Yeah, we just watched this. It's they're insane. So this is Ben Stiller said this isn't right, and he turned it off. He turned off comments so you can't comment. Oh. People the author mentioned can reply. So only certain people can reply. He turned it off. He said this isn't right. And basically, I think he's saying this isn't right, ABC, because they threw him under the bus. They told him it's okay to say that joke. They let him say that joke. And then when he said that joke, he's the one getting fired. And I think he should have been fired. He sucked. He's a piece of POS. So, doesn't really bother me that much. Mario Knopfel. This is a guy I share a lot if you haven't noticed. And he says, the price of speaking, why consequences give words weight. Let me see if I can make it bigger for y'all. Free speech means protecting uncomfortable opinions, not shielding speakers from consequences. You have the right to say whatever you want, but there will be consequences for what you say. Communities can shun you, employers can fine you or fire you, but when government starts limiting speech, we travel a dangerous road. This distinction matters. Social consequences aren't violations of free speech. They're free speech in action. Without stakes, speech becomes meaningless noise. When someone risks their reputation to speak out, their words carry weight precisely because they've wagered something real. The civil rights activists knew this. They faced social backlash, job loss, even violence, but not government censorship. Those consequences gave their words power to change history. Today's controversial speaker walks the same tightrope. The courage to speak knowing the social cost separates authentic discourse from empty rhetoric. Free speech isn't free of consequences. It's value. It's valuable because of them. It does beat doing that, bro. It does. It does. Okay, where were we? There we are. Benny Johnson says, thank you, CNN and Brian Stelter, for melting down while admitting we ended Jimmy Kimmel's career today. No, we didn't. ABC did, folks. I got to keep telling you, it's not us. Don't believe all this stuff. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the more that they're pushing, this, you think it's a win for the right. It's not exactly. Because now they're all blaming Donald Trump for getting him fired. They're blaming conservatives for getting him fired. And while he may have not as many followers as he did before, how many people that watch him religiously are going to be so upset that they fired him? That's why you notice they keep blaming President Trump for this. And he says, this is so distinct from what Twitter and Facebook and others were doing when they were hand in hand with Biden to censor opposing viewpoints. I agree. I was one of those people. I was. Okay, let's see if I can grab this link what Hope just sent us. She said it's breaking, something breaking. I I got to start setting up more. People keep giving me more and more links every time I do a show. I got to start setting it up so I'm ready for it. Okay, breaking. So how old is it? Isn't this the one you sent me earlier? 6:03 p.m. Okay. Just happened. Breaking news. Sinclair Broadcast Group says it will air a tribute to Charlie Kirk on Friday across all of its ABC affiliated TV stations. The special will air during the time slot that is specifically reserved for Jimmy Kimmel Live. Okay, once again, these are my opinions. You guys can disagree with me or not. This is not going to bode as well as we think it is for the Republicans. They're now shoving it in the face of the people who loved watching Jimmy Kimmel. And Jimmy Kimmel they're going to be upset. And when it comes time to vote next time, they're going to be like, well, the Republicans got all my TV shows taken off the air that I love. So, granted, those people probably would have not voted for us anyways, but it's just something to remember. So, the nation's largest ABC affiliate group objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel. As discussed with ABC earlier, Sinclair decided to indefinitely preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live beginning tonight. Following these discussions, ABC has suspended production of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Mr. Kimmel's remarks were inappropriate and deeply insensitive. So once again, this makes the left upset and blaming Republicans, and it makes Republicans feel happy, right? I mean, I was overjoyed when I heard the news of this, but we got to take it for what it is. Remember, folks, what I forget who said it. It's not about winning the war. It's about winning the battle. That's why they're doing this. That's why they're putting Charlie Kirk Memorial in place of Jimmy Kimmel's. It's gonna piss off so many people that it's gonna be bad on both sides. Yeah, I hope she forgot to say pause. Yeah, the lefties are gonna melt. People saw the pure evil on display over the last week. I think they'll be fine with this. You think so, Andy? I mean, the problem is the people that watch his show are the people that are promoting the hate. So people who get pissed off deserve to piss. I get it. I'm just saying we got to prepare. I'm just telling you guys ahead of time what's going to happen in the next couple weeks and stuff. People, I'm just trying to give you guys my insights on what I think is going to happen. You guys don't have to listen to me, So yeah. And this is what President Trump posted today. Great news for America. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. Kimmel has zero talent and worse ratings than Colbert, if that's even possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings also horrible. Do it, NBC, President Donald J. Trump. So, but the thing that gets me too is that they didn't. It wasn't just Jimmy Kimmel. It was the producers and the writers. They should be gone too. If we're gonna go for one, might as well go for all, right? Think of it this way. Okay, here's the best way I can explain it. So when I used to be a plumber, right? And I did a job, it was just $100. It was just $100. And this woman paid me by check. And I went to go cash the check. And because it was made to my business account. And it came back to me. So I had to pay like a $20 fee or something. So then I decided I'll go to her bank and try and cash it. When I got to her bank, I explained to the teller what's going on, and she's like, "I'm sorry, there's not enough funds to cash this check." And what she had said was she keeps just enough in there so it won't cash. And then my brain started thinking. I said, "Well, can anybody deposit money?" And she's like, "Yeah, anybody can deposit money." I said, "How much is she short, if you can tell me?" And she's like, "I can't tell you that, but if you put in $10, it would clear the check." And I said, "Okay, I'd like to deposit $10 into this account." And I cashed a check for $100. And the reason I'm telling you this story is this. Jimmy Kimmel was doing bad in his ratings, right? And the FCC wanted heads. So ABC decided, well, let's fire Jimmy Kimmel so we can keep the rest of the staff. And we can look good in the conservatives' eyes. Does that make sense? That's like me saying, well, it's worth me losing another $10 to make $50. That's what I'm trying to get here. That's what ABC did. And ABC will do it to the next person. Again, they just want their cash. They don't care about anybody that works for them. They're just, all they care about is making their money. Anyways, I digress. All right, this is Representative Jayapal messing with Kash Patel, who I gotta say, I didn't see the whole episode of what was going on today, but Kash Patel had another great showing today over on in the congressional hearing today. Yesterday was Senate hearing. Today was a congressional hearing. Watch this. You guys are gonna love this.
Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to invite
Is the
all
answer yes or
investigative
no
leads.
to whether or not you met with these women who were sexually abused and raped?
Any insinuation by you or any
What
people
is
on
the
your
an-
side that I am not manhunting child predators and sex traffickers, just look at the
Mr.
stats.
Patel,
And you talk
Mr.
about
Chairman,
cover-ups, man.
Mr. Chairman,
You
this
talk
is
about
my time,
cover-ups.
and I will take
Why
as much time as I
Where were
want.
you
Instruct
during the
the
Obama and
witness,
Biden
Mr.
administrations when these so-called
Instruct the
cover-ups were
witness.
going on?
Mr.
Why did
Chairman.
anyone in those administrations talk to any of these
Mr.
purported
Chairman.
witnesses? I have
It's a regular
welcomed
order, Mr.
every
Chairman.
single person to provide credible information.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Washington.
And I'm
When
gonna
you-
take
when
another
you
couple
accuse
of
the
minutes.
witness of something, he's allowed to respond. That's how it works. You say
Listen,
something,
he didn't even,
say the-
excuse me,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Chairman, you have
Point
always
of order.
been fair, but
I'm-
this is
I'm
not
being
fair.
Frickin'
You will
rascal.
get your-
No, this
you will
is
get
my
your
time, and he
You will give
said
the
that
gentlelady
the
an
witnesses
additional
were not credible.
seconds of time.
I'm gonna get an additional minute of time because
No,
that's
you'll
how
get
much time
you
he
won't get a
took.
minute. You'll get some seconds. What we think is under 5 minutes. You don't get to demand
Mr.
how much time you
Patel.
get. That's not.
And Jim Jordan did a pretty good job today too. He played it right where, he would say, okay, you know what, let the congressperson say their nasty stuff. He didn't say it that way. He's like, and I'll give you more time to talk afterwards. Hope, Odie, who is are you saying President Trump is sending tweets right now? God, all the mainstream media knows they're a target now. It's a race to change to MAGA. You watched every minute of this today? Right on, Gra. I was, and then I had other stuff to do, so I couldn't. I think this is old, isn't it? So I'm gonna, pass this up. So here's some sad news. Multiple officers have been shot in York County, Pennsylvania. Per preliminary reports, they have been shot, and at least one is being medevaced. Their conditions are unknown. Please pray for these officers. And let's see. Let's see if we can find out if there's anything new on it. Let's see if there's any new information. All 3 died. 3 dead, 2 critically injured. Wow. 5 hours ago. Let's go latest. York County, Pennsylvania this afternoon. Whom 3? So 5 police officers were shot in York County, Pennsylvania this afternoon, 3 of whom were killed. A memorial is growing at the headquarters of Northern York County Regional Police Department. Wow. Pray for their families. Andy was spot on. Andy was right on it for us. Let's see what other breaking news 51 seconds ago. Let's see if we can find a news article on it. 3 police officers were fatally shot and 2 were wounded on Wednesday. Let's see if they have an article on it so we can see what exactly happened. Here we go. 3 police officers were fatally shot and 2 wounded Wednesday in southern Pennsylvania, and the shooter was killed by police. The officers were at the scene amid rolling farmland to follow up on a domestic-related investigation that began the previous day. And you know, they always say domestic violence are the worst calls to get to. They're the most dangerous calls to get to. This is an absolutely tragic and devastating day, Governor Josh Shapiro said at a news conference. We grieve the loss of the life of 3 precious souls who served this county, who served this Commonwealth, who served this country. This kind of violence is not okay, and we need to do better. It was one of the deadliest days for Pennsylvania police this century. In 2009, 3 Pittsburgh officers responding to a domestic disturbance were ambushed and shot to death by a man in a bulletproof vest. Condolences to the family. The shooting erupted in the area of North Codorus Township, about 115 miles west of Philadelphia, not far from the Maryland line. Dirk Anderson, a farmer who lives across a 2-lane country road from the scene, said he was in his shop when he heard the shots, which he described as quite a few. He saw a helicopter arrive and large police response. The 2 injured officers were in critical but stable condition at York Hospital. Authorities did not identify the shooter, the officers, or which police department they belonged to, or describe the circumstances on how they were shot, citing the ongoing investigation. Shapiro said he and other officials met with the slain officers' families who, while grieving, took the time to say how proud they were of their loved ones. So are we. We're proud of you guys and girls. Attorney General Pam Bondi called the violence against police a scourge on our society. She said federal agents... Whoa, what happened to it? There we go. On our society. She said federal agents were on the scene to support local officers. The emergency response unfolded on a rural road in south central Pennsylvania. Officers were keeping people well back from the scene, with some 30 police vehicles blocking off roads bordered by a barn, a goat farm, soybean, and cornfields. Another officer in the area was killed in February when a man armed with a pistol and zip ties entered the hospital's ICU and took staff members hostage. This is getting way out of hand, folks. Way out of hand. And it's not the guns that are killing these people. It's the people. It's their mental health. Their mental health is what's ruining it. But everybody wants to blame the guns. It's not the guns that are killing these people. It's the mental health. Guarantee you tomorrow, Pennsylvania Congress, senators, mayors, anybody that's a Democrat there is going to push for more gun control. And it's not that. Gross is on a lighter note. Pam is bringing my dog here tomorrow. Right on, Graw. You get to see your puppy again, huh? And Pam. And Pam. So please pray for these officers, families, and everything. Everyone else there. And now to lovely Jasmine Crockett.
Director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a Black woman definitely don't feel safe. Director.
And this is, by her saying that, that's going to scare people more. That's going to make people think that every white person is a white supremacist if they don't already. It's rhetoric like this is what's getting people killed. She is an idiot, and she too. I think anybody that calls for stuff like this, and not calls for it, but says this, needs to be held responsible. I do. Look at this. I like this. Donnie agrees too. All dogs are created equal, but sometimes the special becomes Saint Bernards, don't they? Right, Donnies? Right, Donnies? Cross says jazzy racist Crockett. She is. She's definitely a racist. All right, here we go. There it is. FBI Director Kash Patel just officially ended Eric Swalwell's career. Let's see.
The muster and
Director,
their constitutional
I will
obligation.
work on the audio-visual capabilities.
I'm going to borrow your terminology and call bullshit on your entire career in Congress.
Reclaiming my time,
It's been
Director.
a disgrace to the American
Director, I'm
people.
reclaiming my time.
You can reclaim the muster and
Director,
their constitutional
I will
obligation.
work on the...
I love it. I love it. Go Kash Patel. He was on point today. What's up, Gavin? Antifa officially a terrorist group organization. Yeah, I saw that. That's another good one. All right, here we go. We're going to go off on Jamie Raskin, too, now. Kash Patel was on it today.
2005, because of the non-prosecution agreements and the court orders on the investigations and search warrants, we were not able to develop new information. And oh, by the way, Jeffrey Epstein was out for 12 years, and the Obama and Biden administration did nothing to look at his work, his pedophile network. If you want to blame me, that's fine. But now you're blaming the men and women who conducted this
stop
great
that.
search.
I'm not blaming anybody other than you. You're not keeping your word. You said that you would release all of the materials
Has
under your
anyone
direct
released
control.
more information on Epstein than I have? Has
Well,
anyone?
much
Did
more-
Comey? Did Ray?
Much
Did
more.
they?
Excuse me. Much more has come out in the days since the American people and Congress have been demanding it. But it's coming out in dribs and drabs. Why don't you just release the entire file as you promised to do?
I literally just told you there are multiple federal court orders. I'm not going to break the law to satisfy your curiosity. You didn't join us when we filed court to release the court orders. You could have. You have lawyers. You could have shown up. You didn't do that.
That's a tiny fraction of the material we're
That
talking
is
about.
not.
It is
How
a
do you-
tiny fraction.
How do you know that? Have you seen
No.
everything?
It's all misdirection.
How do you know
Time
that?
of the gentleman has expired. The gentleman from California is recognized.
Good. Get rid of Jamie Raskin. He's another hate monger. And so this is, while I was watching this is what I thought of today. And I've been thinking this for a while. I think they should not be allowed to enter news articles as facts in Congress and or the Senate. Do you agree? Because, most of the stuff that they share in the Senate and the Congress, you'll hear them all the time. It's a UC. I want to, put something on the record. And what they're putting on is like they'll put Politico on the record. And they'll be like, this opinion, and they don't say it's an opinion piece, but if you start looking up what they put on there, they're opinion pieces, and they're acting as their fact. Like they're saying, according to Jimmy, what's his name from Superman? Okay, according to Clark Kent, he says that the far right are all Nazis. That's not fact. That's just a news article that was an opinion, and they're posting that as on fact. I think they need to take away and strip their ability to use the news as factual content in any of these congressional hearings or Senate hearings. All right, let's this is Representative Troy Niels. He said something great too at the end, and I'm not sure if they'll play it here, but let's watch.
Charlie Kirk was a man of faith. First and foremost, he loved his Lord Jesus. He loved his family. Beautiful wife, beautiful children. Just a remarkable, honorable man that was silenced with this assassin's bullet. I would say if Charlie Kirk lived in the biblical times, he'd have been the 13th disciple. He'd have been the 13th disciple. Charlie Kirk.
Okay, that's another. So I believe it was him. So he also said at the end, "Thank you." He was thanking. He told a story, and I believe this was him. He said, my friend, and his name was Andy, if I remember correct too. He's like, my friend Andy. I was on the phone before this, and he said, I want you to tell Kash Patel that we are all behind you. Kash, my friend Andy said, if I don't tell you this, so I'm telling you this here. We are all behind you. You are doing a great job, and keep up the great work. I believe it was Mr. Neal that said that. Right? Wasn't it him, Gra? Or since Destiny says I spent all day watching this too. Maybe it was Destiny's mom. Maybe you said he said that. Was he from Colorado? Who, Gavin? Who was from Colorado? Which person? And so, leading report, breaking news: Representative Randy Fine calls for public firing squad for the entire world to see. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about this. What do you guys think? Should we put this on TV? Yeah, it was his friend Andy, right? But so should we put this on TV? And show him being murdered, or not murdered. That's not the word. Actually, here's what we can do. We'll go to Rumble real quick where I was watching it. And let's see if it was him. I just don't think that would be right. Nobody has to watch it. Yeah, I don't know. That would be setting, I don't know, a new standard. It's. I mean, would I be interested in watching it? I would watch it, yes. But do I feel it's right to do like that? I really don't know. I really don't know if that's right. Put it on pay-per-view, says Get Some. Donate the money to veterans. Now there's an idea. There's an idea. Let's see. Where was it? Here it is. Got to be here. Yep. Holy jeez, it was 6 hours. Oh, it doesn't show how far I got into it. Okay, so let me see. Jimmy Raskin, the douche. There was also a lady in green that I wanted to talk about what she said. Okay, let's watch this lady real quick. We're gonna do a little bit of this for a while, guys.
Look at us and say we all support.
This guy's gay. Oh, whoops! See, it went back to where I ended. That woman. Hold on, let me go back to the woman in green. Because why watch just short little clips on these when we can see the whole dang thing? And I know Gross says, don't listen to the Democrats. All they do is you can skip the Democrats, but I don't.
The United States. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you were the key guy in helping expose that. And I think the president.
By reports that FBI agents
This
have
lady.
been diverted from their important work on crime and anti-terrorism to work on matters that are not critical to our safety. I'd like to play the video, the whole video.
Jeffrey
clip.
Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is that. I mean,
I
That's
agree,
under
Gavin. That's why I'm
direct
worried.
Control of the director of the FBI. Or the
but the
manifesto.
Black Book, it's not just sitting. I mean, that's Hoover power times 10.
And to me, that's a thing I think President Trump should
Gotcha,
run
Grau.
on day one. Roll out the Black Book.
In contrast to that attitude of let it all out, we're getting reports of actions that are run
Andy says
contrary
assassinations only.
to getting everything out and that also involve diversions of FBI resources. For
All right,
example,
Gavin.
an FBI whistleblower reported that you were pressured by the Attorney General to place 1,000 personnel on 24-hour shifts to mine roughly 100,000 Epstein-related records to redact President Trump's name from the files.
Okay, now that sounds stupid to me. You wanted somebody to work 24-hour shifts just reading paperwork looking for Donald Trump's name? That just doesn't sound right. Because think about it. We don't want people doing 24-hour shifts because they get tired and they get slow when they miss stuff, right? So that part doesn't make sense to me.
Bloomberg reported this, that you direct.
So once again, she's saying Bloomberg reported this. This is what I'm talking about, to where all these news outlets, TV shows, channels, movies, news shows, they all get pharmaceutical commercials to pay them back for writing hit pieces like this so they can post this up here in Congress. And I think this should not be allowed anymore. Why aren't you playing? Come on, play. Come on, Rumble, play. Let me refresh it. Where are we at? We're at 220. Oh, Rumble. Okay, we're back in the same spot. It's not playing. Come on. Female Bernie Sanders, made up whistleblower, just like the January 6th whistleblowers yet. Just Control F the PDF documents, no need for a 20-hour shit. That's true, right, Gavin? And let me show you something. Let me see. Let's go here. Is it my internet down? So let's see. No, let's do no GIF. No meme. Let's do no meme. Is it my internet messing up? I think that's what it is. I think it's my internet messing up. Hold on. Speed test. Oh, now it starts working. Let's just see what's going on here real quick. Oh, now it wants to work. Okay. So let's get rid of this. Now let's go back here and see if we can play it. Refresh it. Or do you think Rumble's messing up? Maybe it's Rumble that's messing up. Let's try and skip it a little bit.
And from the Richmond field
Okay, there
office.
we go.
I can give you the
That also involved saying that judgments at least 4 times,
Here we go.
including once to flag any references to Mr. Trump and other prominent figures. Details of the review
Maybe,
were based
Gavin.
on accounts by 3 former FBI and Justice Department officials
Really
who
get some.
spoke on condition of anonymity because
But that's why I wanted to show her, was because of when she said that kind of stuff. Now, trying to see. We don't need to hear any more from her. Trying to get that Andy one. And Thomas Massey, he needs to be removed as well. Tom, here, for those of you that if anybody is in here and he's your congressman, watch this. Son of a bitch. Fucking Rumble. I don't want to go to YouTube because then we got to watch fucking ads. But I guess we're going to have to. Look at their live stuff. President Trump, replay. Oversight Committee. Parts of the Rumble stream froze today, did it? It didn't seem to when I was watching it, but...
Well, the FBI will meet with anyone who has new information.
Will you personally meet with them?
The FBI and the professionals who are
this
handling
is
the
Thomas Massey right here.
And in front of these profile
This guy was a douchebag today, too.
indictment, which produced many
grand jury materials.
Without objection. Gentleman from Kentucky is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, I watched some of your Senate hearing yesterday when Senator Kennedy asked you, you've seen most of the files, who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these women to besides himself? You replied, according to the transcript, there is no credible information that he trafficked them to anyone else. You also said somewhere in the hearing and here today that the problem is that the case files are constrained by limited search warrants from 2006 to 2007, and that the non-prosecution agreement hamstrung future investigations. Those constraints
You know, this one went quiet. This one just went quiet.
CEO of Barclays Bank, who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked victims to, victims including minors such as Virginia Roberts Giuffre, may she rest in peace. That list also includes at least 19 other individuals, one Hollywood producer worth a few $100 million, one royal prince, one high-profile individual in the music industry, one very prominent banker, one high-profile government official, one high-profile former politician, one owner of a car company in Italy, one rock star, one magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a billionaire from Canada. We know these people exist in the FBI files, the files that you control. I don't know exactly who they are, but the FBI does. Have you launched any investigations into any of these people And have you seen these 302 documents?
Sir, I have asked my FBI agents to review the entirety of the Epstein files and bring forth any credible information. And we're working with Congress not only to divulge that information and produce it to you, but any investigations that arise from any credible investigation will be brought. There have been
This
no
guy's got a
new
microphone
materials
on. I
brought
wonder
to
who that
me
is.
launching a new indictment.
So is the loophole here, or is it your assertion that these victims aren't credible, that the 302s maybe didn't produce credible statements that rise to a probable cause?
It's not my assertion, sir. It's the assertion of at two different United States attorneys' offices from three separate administrations who investigated those same materials in lifetime.
Are the 302 documents in the FBI's possession?
They reviewed all that. Yes, sir.
And so have you reviewed those 302 documents that where the victims name the people who victimized them?
If I personally know, but the FBI has.
So how can you sit here and in front of the Senate and say there are no names?
I said
I named one today.
I
someone's
said,
on both
we are
today.
not in the practice at the Department of Justice FBI of releasing victims' names. That is not what we do. We are also not in the habit of releasing incredible information. That's not what we do. But multiple authorities have looked at the entirety of what we have.
Okay, I got to move on here. Were you present when the AG had the White House event when she released the binders to social media influencers?
I was, yes.
So if you're willing to meet with social media influencers who stood to benefit from the sensational and sad stories of these victims, will you meet with the victims as well?
The FBI will meet with anyone who has new information.
Will you personally meet with them?
The FBI and the professionals who are handling the cases will.
Were you instructed that it was important
See
to
how
release the documents
see how Thomas Massey getting a little wanky there and getting a little liberal there?
to the Oversight Committee?
Because here's how the way it works, folks. He's not the best one to take their testimony and speak to them. He has not been trained in that area. So why would he be the ones meeting with them? It should be the people that are trained, that can understand what they're saying, understand how to help them better than he can. Thomas Massey, you're showing your true colors here. You're showing your true colors here. Chip Roy, I don't remember what Chip Roy said. Swalwell. I don't think we need to see Swalwell. We saw part of that a minute ago. Lou, he's a dumbass. Liberal. Who's next? You want to hear all of this one? This one gets really interesting. So let's listen to all of hers.
Thank you. That'd be important. I appreciate that. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Gentleman from Washington's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Patel, before you joined the FBI, you had very strong opinions about what the FBI was hiding regarding Jeffrey Epstein. In a September 2023 interview with Glenn Beck, you said the Black Book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI. In December 2023, you said, let us know who the pedophiles are. Even for a short time after becoming FBI director, in February of 2025, you tweeted, quote, there will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, no stone left unturned. In June, you told Joe Rogan, quote, we've reviewed all the information. We're going to give you every single thing we have and can. But then suddenly in July, everything changed. You and Attorney General Pam Bondi released one video and said that there was nothing more to see. Your July memo says you uncovered more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence, but that you had decided no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. That is a quote. I think what happened, Mr. Patel, is that suddenly you discovered that Donald Trump's name was all over these files, and you started a...
Okay, and so here, if you don't know what they're doing here, let me explain it. And I'm sure everybody's smart enough here to know, but you never know. There might be somebody out there that doesn't, who might be watching in the background. This is the trick that they do, because they know he can't answer this question, because it's under, there's laws and court orders that says he cannot answer questions such as these. And so she is sitting there saying that, is it true that Donald Trump's name was in there and that's why you didn't? And all she has to do is say that. And everyone that follows her or every liberal out there is going to say, see, Donald Trump is in there because he couldn't say no. He didn't answer the question. Donald Trump is in there. That's how they work, and that's what they're doing. It's like in a court case. Have you ever watched court shows or watch court TV? And the lawyer will say something that they're not allowed to say. Something similar to this, and the judge will be like, or the other person, the other attorney says object, and they're all sorry. I take that back, Judge. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. But they do that because they know the jury still hears it. The jury still hears it.
Giant cover up. So you are under oath, Mr. Patel. You just testified to Mr. Swalwell that you did not speak to the president about the Epstein files. To your knowledge, did Attorney General Pam Bondi speak to the president about what was in the Epstein files?
I can't speak for Attorney General Pam Bondi.
So to your knowledge, you don't have any information. The question was, do you have any knowledge? Do you have any knowledge?
I can't speak.
You are
for the
refusing to
Attorney
answer the
General
question. So
Pam
let me
Bondi.
tell you.
So see, she asked him a question that he can't answer, right? See that? Do you have knowledge that Pam Bondi said it's the President Trump? He can't speak to that. It's hearsay. Hearsay cannot be entered into court, right? That's something that you can't do. He can't answer that. And she knew he was going to say that. And so now she is saying, well, watch, what is she saying again?
That the Wall Street, you don't have any information. The question was, do you have any knowledge? Do you have any knowledge?
I can't speak.
You are
for the
refusing to
Attorney
answer the
General
question. So
Pam
let me
Bondi.
tell you that the Wall Street Journal reported that in May,
So the Wall Street Journal reported in May that Pam Bondi spoke, right? Once again, using a news source that is not fact. They don't have to show proof because they're news, and that's why they use them. It's the same way as when the government wants to build something they don't want the public to know about, they hire an outside firm because FOIA acts only work on the government. You cannot FOIA a private company.
he told Trump that he
Donnie,
was in
medicine.
the Epstein files, and at the
Donnie.
same meeting said that the DOJ did not plan to release the files. Yesterday, you testified to Senator Kennedy that there was, quote, no credible information that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone else, and that you have, quote, continuously and publicly asked the public to come forward with more information and we'll look into it. Today, in response to Mr. Massey's question, you appear to say that the survivors were not credible. These are survivors.
That's not at all what I said.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you this in a second, but let me tell you
Okay, well,
about
then
the
don't lie about
survivors,
me.
and
I
let's
love
bring
this.
them up here into the room. These
Why I
are
like
women
Cash.
who came to the Hill and testified that they were groomed and raped at the age of 14 and 16 years old, and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI.
But you also notice they never named names. How can you go after somebody if they don't name names?
And to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to
Is the
invite all
answer yes or
investigative
no
leads.
to whether or not you met with these women who were sexually abused and raped?
Any insinuation by you or any
What
people
is
on
the
your
an-
side that I am not manhunting child predators and sex traffickers, just look at the
Mr.
stats.
Patel,
And you talk
Mr.
about
Chairman,
cover-ups, man.
Mr. Chairman,
you
this
talk
is
about
my time,
cover-ups.
and I will take as much time as I
Where
want.
were you
Instruct
during the
the
Obama and
witness,
Biden
Mr.
administrations
I
when
love
these
Cash
so-called
Patel.
cover-ups were
Witness.
going on?
Mr.
Why didn't
Chairman.
anyone in those administrations talk to any of these
Mr.
purported
Chairman.
witnesses?
Yeah,
I
let's
have
get some regular
welcomed
order, Mr.
every
Chairman.
single person to provide credible information.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Washington.
And I'm
When
gonna
you-
take
when
another
you
couple
accuse
of
the
minutes.
witness of something, he's allowed to respond. That's how it works. You say
Listen,
something,
he didn't even,
say the-
excuse me,
Mr.
Mr. Chairman, you have
point
always
of
been
order.
fair, but this is
I'm
not
being
fair.
and you will get
No,
your.
this
you will
is
get your
my time, and he
You will give the
said
gentlelady
that the
a few
witnesses
additional
were not credible.
seconds of time.
I'm going to get an additional minute of time because
No,
that's
you'll
how
get
much time
you
he
won't
took.
get a minute. You'll get some seconds. What we think is under 5 minutes. You don't get to demand how
Mr.
much time you
Patel.
get. That's not how it works.
Mr. Patel,
It's rough, isn't it, Andy?
are the victims of the Jeffrey Epstein horrific trafficking ring, are they credible?
Any person with information about ongoing sexual trafficking.
I'm asking you if they're credible.
Ma'am, I'm
Are
commenting
they
on the
credible?
evidence we have.
But
And we have routinely asked for people to come forward with more evidence, and we will look at it. And the evidence that we have was the same evidence that the Biden and
Patel,
Obama Justice Departments
Mr.
had.
Patel,
And they
this is
determined, not
new.
me, they determined that that
Chairman,
information was not
Mr.
credible.
Chairman, he's not letting me even ask my questions.
You
This is
ask the
ridiculous.
questions, he gives an answer. You may not like what he says, but that
I'm
doesn't mean you
asking-
get to
he's not
interrupt
answering
him.
my question.
Mr. Chairman,
have
could
an-
we restore the gentlelady 45 seconds so she
We
can
will give
complete
her
her question?
additional 30 seconds, which is what I said
I'm going
earlier.
to keep taking my time
No,
because
you'll take
here's
the
the
time
thing.
that you get.
You
get
are
30
not
seconds.
Go,
answering
Jordan.
the question. The question is,
I have, you just don't like the
these
answer.
are these women credible? It's a yes or no answer.
I have answered the question.
Well,
and I
what is
keep
the
telling
answer?
you, I'm the only FBI director that has welcomed new information in this case. This
You're not-
administration is the only one that has welcomed
Exactly,
any new
get some.
information in this
Is there
case.
a yes or no to
Present
whether the
new credible
victims are
information. Present new
Are
information.
the victims credible
The victims-
or not?
I'll tell you what happened in the last Trump
Are they
administration.
credible or not? You can't even
Victims
say.
credibly came forward. And you know what happened? President Trump authorized the indictments of
President
Jeffrey
Trump
Epstein.
called
Not
them
Biden,
a hoax.
not Obama.
President Trump
No one
called
else.
the entire thing a Democratic hoax. So I would like to ask
The
you
gentlelady's
if
time has
you
expired.
will
I gave her
meet-
the additional
if
45
you-
seconds she
if you
requested.
will
The
meet-
gentlelady yields back. The gentleman
Mr.
from New
Chairman,
Jersey is
I would like
recognized
to
for his
ask if
5
you would
minutes.
meet with the women who were sexually
Time does not
abused
belong.
and raped and groomed
Time does
at
not
the
belong
ages
to the
of
gentlelady from
14
Washington.
and
The
16
time now
They should be able to
years
shut
old.
off their
Are
microphone.
you going to cover up?
No, I'm
Are
not
you
gonna-
going to continue
gonna
to
recognize
cover
the
up
gentleman
for
from
the
New
rich
Jersey for
and
his 5
powerful
minutes.
men, including those that might be on this committee?
I can yell too,
Or are
Mr.
you
Chairman,
going
but I don't want to
to
yell
allow
above
them
this.
to
The time belongs
testify?
to the gentleman from New Jersey. I
Are you
appreciate
going
the
to allow
gentlelady
them to
yielding back.
testify, Mr. Patel?
Go ahead.
Will
Mr.
you
Angelo.
allow them to testify to you, Mr. Patel?
Mr. Patel, thank you for being here.
Jam
I know it's been
dumb
an
idiot
interesting
bitch.
and difficult 2 days.
They're all lies,
And I
bro.
wasn't going
That's
to
all they
talk
do
about
is
the
lie.
Epstein thing because there's a lot of other issues that affect the FBI.
His name is among many in the Epstein.
Hold on. Let's hear
I would
what
like
stuff
to
she's.
introduce a CNN article that explains how an alleged top leader of the MS-13 gang
Goldberg.
was dismissed.
Goldman.
His case was dismissed in Brooklyn so that he could be
Of course it's a
deported back
CNN.
to El Salvador, even though he was charged with murder.
Without objection.
Mr. Chairman, I have some unanimous consent.
Gentlelady from
requests.
Washington is recognized.
I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record an article titled Justice Department told Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files.
It's just an article, folks. It's not facts.
Objection.
I have another one that is a July 2025 article by the New York Times entitled How a Frantic Scouring of the Epstein Files Consumed the Justice Department,
Once again, that's an opinion, not a fact.
stating that DOJ and FBI employees reviewing the Epstein files were instructed to flag any mentions of Trump and other celebrities.
Without objection.
And I have another unanimous consent request to enter into the record an August 2025 article by The Guardian entitled Ghislaine Maxwell hinted at Epstein's ties to Trump officials.
That is not
Why
fact.
wasn't she pressed for names?
All
Stating that
op-eds,
Maxwell
right?
told Deputy U.S. Attorney Todd Blanche
Okay.
that some of the quote cast of characters around
Okay,
Epstein are in
let's
Trump's
get her off the
cabinet.
screen now. I'm sick and tired
Without
of her.
objection. Chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Pennsylvania.
With numerous SARS. I don't know that he took.
Dismissed. His case was dismissed in Brooklyn so that he could be deported back to El Salvador, even though he was charged with murder.
OEM saw
Without
that
objection.
already.
Warrants. They have said this was in the investigation.
Oh, maybe this is the
And
guy.
they killed
Yeah, here
him
it is.
for it. Charlie Kirk was a man of faith. First and foremost, he loved his Lord Jesus. He loved his family. Beautiful wife, beautiful children. Just a remarkable, honorable man that was silenced with this assassin's bullet.
I agree. Get some.
I would say if Charlie Kirk lived in the biblical times, he'd have been the 13th disciple. He'd have been the 13th disciple. We have a new
That is-
committee.
that is right.
If you're not aware, a new select committee regarding January 6th. I'm honored to be on that committee. I'm looking forward to working with other members to expose truth, questioning federal agencies that were involved on January 6th, like the FBI, played a role But we don't really know, Director, to what extent. We don't know. The January 6th sham committee was not formed by Nancy Pelosi to seek truth. It was nothing about getting to the truth about January 6th.
That's why they kept calling it a story
Their
of
sole
January
mission
6th.
was to damage Donald J. Trump and end his political career. And everybody knows it. That's what the purpose was. You know what's nice? So I kind of get to ask the question, though. How did that work out for you? Donald J. Trump is back in the White House.
Right on, Gavin.
And America loves him. I spent 30 years in law enforcement, retired sheriff from a large county in the great state of Texas.
Okay, I'll go back and play those, Gra.
I've seen, Director, I've seen more enthusiasm and support for law enforcement today because of what you and Donald Trump have done over the last 8 months to protect the American people. The American people couldn't count on their government to protect them. Crime is rampant. And now we have a president and an administration that puts the American people and their safety first. It's interesting, a few minutes ago, I was,
Here it is,
a
Andy.
classmate
Listen.
reached out to me and sent me I told him, I said, yes, we got Director Patel in front of our committee today. And Andy Kane wanted me to tell you, he said, quote, tell him we love him. Tell him we love him and all the brave warriors exposing the deep state. Cash, you're a great American, sir. You're a great American. Your work as the director of the FBI is commendable. It's commendable. And I want to thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. Keep up the good fight, brother. Don't let him tear you down. Keep up that good fight. You have it in you. With that, sir, I yield back.
Okay, so Gra says we got to show the
Gentleman, yield to
opening
me.
statements. Who's next? Let's see, real quick.
Director Patel, there were 26, the gentleman mentioned the select committee, there were 26 confidential human sources at the Capitol on January 6, 2021. 4 entered the Capitol and thereby broke the law. Do you know if those individuals were being paid by the Ray FBI? Lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance. And current United States. As is customary, we will begin with opening statements. 5 weeks ago, because of the work of Director Patel, we learned that the former chair of the House Intelligence Committee and current United States Senator leaked classified information.
I know, Andy, I know.
We
I know
learned this
that's not
because a
you, but still.
whistleblower came forward. Whistleblower with 23 years experience in the intelligence community, a Democrat staffer on the committee, said this: they were pressured to leak classified information, which sort of raises the obvious question. Why would the head of the Intelligence Committee, the chair of that committee, who's supposed to be guarding our secrets, why would he be encouraging the leaking of classified information? Whistleblower told us that answer as well. The leaked information was supposed to be used, the leaked information, false information, was going to be used to indict President Trump. Now, the former chairman wasn't the only person leaking information. Jim Comey was also sharing things he wasn't supposed to share. Again, don't take my word for it. The Inspector General told us this. In his report, he said, quote, James Comey violated FBI policy by disclosing classified information. And what was Comey's motive? Same as the senator from California: to sabotage and undermine President Trump's first term. And we know that Mr. Comey's not been shy about what his objective was. In fact, 4 months ago, he told us, remember this? 8647, Jim Comey told us just 4 months ago. Now, how'd they do it? How did the former chair of the Intel community, the former FBI director, and others in our government attempt to undermine President Trump's first term? 7 weeks ago, because of the good work of the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, we learned from another whistleblower, a second whistleblower, that in the closing days of the Obama administration, the intelligence community assessment was changed. On December 5th, 2016, they had one assessment. That assessment said Russia did not impact the election vote count. There was a meeting at the White House on December 9th, 2016, where it was decided, no, we're not going to have that. We're going to come up with a new one. And the new one said Russia was trying to influence election and did influence election, which just wasn't accurate. And that new one is published on January 6, 2017. Let's just show you a few things that took place. I want to show you first this email from Admiral Rogers, the head of the NSA. You can see it was December 22nd. It says to Jim, John, and Jim Clapper, John Brennan, Jim Comey. And he says, I asked my team if they've had sufficient access to the underlying intelligence, sufficient time to review that intelligence. On both points, my team raised concern. Further states, my folks aren't fully comfortable. A few hours later, there's an email back to Admiral Rogers. This one is from Jim Clapper, and it says this: it is essential that we be on the same page and all of us are supportive of the report in the highest tradition of, that's our story and we're sticking to it. We may have to compromise on our normal modalities. This is one project that has to be a team sport. That's our story and we're sticking to it. Compromise on normal modalities, that's a fancy way of saying, that's the government speak for we're gonna have to change the rules. In fact, we're not gonna follow our own rules. And that's exactly what they did to get the objective they wanted, to undermine President Trump. Now, how did it specifically take place? The whistleblower said that the government officials ignored concerns about discredited information. And what was that discredited information? What was the discredited information that they didn't ignore the concerns about? What did they use, that discredited information? Of course, it was the dossier. The now famous Steele dossier that was paid for by the Clinton campaign when they hired the law firm Perkins Coie, who hired Fusion GPS, who hired the foreigner Christopher Steele, who wrote all this garbage and lies down. That is what was used to change the intelligence community report. And what happens next? What do Jim, John, and Jim do next? They go to Trump Tower on January 6, 2017 to brief then President-elect Trump about the dossier. Again, the Clinton-financed, foreign-authored dossier that the whistleblower knows is garbage and that they know is garbage. And then there's one final step. One final step. Jim Comey leaves that meeting with the president and immediately leaks to the press that they briefed the president on the discredited information. They briefed the president on the dossier and thereby giving it some credibility and creating the basis and the predicate for all they did to the president. They leaked false information. They leaked classified information. They used and leaked discredited information, and they didn't follow their own rules, all to sabotage President Trump's first term. And but for this guy, Kash Patel, but for this guy, we would never have known this information. The good people of this great country would not have known what took place 8 years ago when they were trying to undermine the guy elected by we the people. And I want to thank Attorney General Bondi. She set up a special strike force, a special team to look into this and see if there's any criminal liability that exists in what took place. Now, in addition to getting the truth to the people, Director Patel is getting the bad guys off the street. He's moved agents out of Washington, got the focus off of politics here in DC, and is instead putting bad guys behind bars. 21,000 violent criminals have been taken off the streets, which is a 125% increase from the comparable period in the previous administration. He's rescued 4,000 kids. He's got 1,300 predators who he's arrested. He's also ended the weaponization of the FBI. No more spying on parents at school board meetings. No more pre-dawn raids on pro-life Catholics. No more retaliation against whistleblowers. And he's given us information that Chris Wray didn't. Maybe said better, he's given us information that Chris Wray wouldn't. Director Wray didn't tell us that there were 26 confidential human sources at the Capitol on January 6, 2021, even though he was repeatedly asked about that by members of this committee. Director Wray didn't tell us that there were 17 of those confidential human sources who entered restricted space. 4 went in the Capitol. None of them were arrested. They weren't authorized to do that. They broke the law. None of them were arrested. Lots of American citizens were arrested, but the guys whose whose American tax dollars was used to pay these guys who broke the law, none of them were. One was recommended for charging and was not charged. And remember when Chris Wray told us that the Richmond field office memorandum on pro-life Catholics was just a one-off? Turns out he wasn't being square with the Senate either. Director Wray wasn't square with us. He told us that multiple other offices were involved in targeting the Catholics. We got that information from
All right, all good stuff. Let's get back to X and let's go start doing more of this stuff. And let's see what this one was. Senator Moody. This was from yesterday.
I have to say I'm a new senator here, so this is all very troubling to me. But I'm really shocked.
The heck
Most
is
people
that right
come and
there?
introduce their families. I'm really shocked that we have behind you anti-Trump lawyers that you've invited. Do you want to introduce your lawyers that you brought with you today?
Oh no, this was today.
I'm just noticing that they're aiding with your testimony. They keep handing you notes and whispering in your ears. So I figured you should probably, for the record, put their names in the record.
My lawyers have been publicly associated with me already.
So you're refusing to acknowledge the attorneys that are present in this hearing room helping you with your testimony?
The attorneys that I have been.
I mean, I've been in the legal world for a long time, and attorneys generally aren't shy about stating appearances and saying when they're here helping clients. So is there some reason you don't want to introduce the senators to the lawyers that are here and put their names on the record?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, they're passing you notes, so I think it's fair for the record to know who's passing you notes while you testify. And I really didn't mean that. I'm trying to be adversarial here. I just think for the record, it's probably good to know who's passing notes and whispering in your ear.
I think my counsel is happy to follow up with you.
Why won't they? That's weird. Why won't she say it? Why won't she say it? So I wrote to lovely Rosa DeLaro, this woman. I said, you need to find the new hairstylist, and especially a photographer or whoever picks these photos. I'd offer my help, but I think you already got a Republican to edit these photos for you as they make you look awful. I mean, look at the pictures that she chose. And her hair. And look, there's the congressman in the background right there. We already saw that one. Okay, we already saw that one. I don't want to play Raskin again. Let's see what they're at. This is from this
Of
person.
the thousands of
who is
lawyers that you could hire to
CDC
help you
director.
through this process, why Mark Zaid?
Look, the moments, the hours after I had been terminated, I was concerned in a number of different facets associated with my termination. One of the things that I wanted to make sure I did was have clarity of understanding of what had transpired and what would I.
You don't seem naive at all. You have to know that Mark Zaid is a leading opponent of President Trump, notorious for his online activity that is very anti-Trump. He was heavily involved in President Trump's first impeachment. Why did you hire a guy like that? Of all the thousands of attorneys, and furthermore, he advised his clients to leave the country after President Trump won the 2024 election. Why would you hire a guy like that?
So I actually was not aware of any of those details associated with Mark.
He's right behind you. You brought him with you today. Notorious for his anti-Trump activity and involvement, and you hired that guy.
Yeah, so I was seeking some critical counsel to be able to help me make sure that I was understanding and aware of everything that had transpired and preparing for what might be next, including this committee hearing. Mark Zaid and I have never spoken about politics. I never asked him about his politics. He has never asked me about my politics. He is a well-credentialed counsel.
So you're claiming to be naive about Mark Zaid's political activity as he sits behind you, advising you for this hearing.
I have not
and helping you through this process.
I have not had any discussions with Mr. Zaid associated with his politics.
That's astonishing.
Get some. Hired him because Fannie Willis was busy. I don't think she'd be good. So this is what started this whole entire thing about getting Jimmy Kimmel today. This is what happened this morning, and almost immediately after, within an hour or so at the most, I think, Jimmy Kimmel, first off, a few stations decided to take off Jimmy Kimmel off their stations, and then after that, Disney decided to take the rest of them off. So let's watch this. And I know a lot of you don't like Benny Johnson because, clickbait Benny, but this is good information here, at least from what I understand, because I have not watched it yet.
When you look at the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel, it appears to be some of the sickest conduct possible. As you've indicated, there are avenues here for the FCC.
I don't even know what he said.
Are some ways in which I need to be a little bit careful, because we could be called ultimately to be a judge on some of these claims that come up. But I don't think this is an isolated incident. I mean, you go back to Representative Swalwell, and he had a tweet out last week where he was saying that, emphasizing that Charlie Kirk's killer was a straight white male from a Republican family that voted for Donald Trump. In some quarters, there's a very concerted effort to try to lie to the American people about the nature, as you indicate, of one of the most significant, newsworthy public interest acts that we've seen in a long time. And what appears to be an action by Jimmy Kimmel to play into that narrative that this was somehow a MAGA or Republican motivated person. If that's what happened here with his conduct, that is really, really sick. And I've been very clear from the moment that I have become chairman of the FCC, I want to reinvigorate the public interest. And what people don't understand is that the broadcasters, and you've gotten this right, are entirely different than people that use other forms of communication. They have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. And we can get into some ways that we've been trying to reinvigorate the public interest and some changes that we've seen. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
What kind of action would you see? I, at the very least, would like
Benny Johnson
to
has his earpiece
have an
too loud.
on-air apology from Jimmy Kimmel to the Kirk family, to all of those who he slandered, because he did say that Charlie Kirk, he is effectively saying that our movement did this. Our movement killed Charlie, that Charlie was deserving of this, effectively. And we've seen that rear its head. This happens quite regularly, actually, on MSNBC and on other networks where they're trying to victim blame. And what that does, Mr. Chairman, respectfully, is continues the lie and continues the threat level to say effectively that we have no share in this problem at all on the left. This is a clear-cut case. What would you like to see done at ABC?
Well, look, I think what you said there strikes me as a very reasonable, minimal step that can be taken. I mean, obviously, look, there's calls for him to be fired. I think, you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. And again, the FCC is going to have remedies that we could look at. And again, we may ultimately be called to be a judge on that. But this also strikes me as sort of conduct that to some extent it shows some sort of desperate irrelevance. I mean, we're sort of exiting an era where the three main legacy broadcast networks could control and dictate the narrative to the American people. And one of the things that President Trump did when he ran for office, he ran directly at that legacy media establishment. He smashed the facade that they get to control what we say, what we think, the narrative around events. And we're seeing a lot of consequences that are flowing from President Trump doing that. I mean, look, NPR has been defunded. PBS has been defunded. Colbert is retiring. Joy Reid is out at MSNBC. Terry Moran has gone from ABC and so now admitting that they are biased. CBS has now made some commitments to us that they're going to return to more fact-based journalism. And so I think you see some lashing out from people like Kimmel, who are frankly talentless and are looking for ways to get attention. But their grip on the narrative is slipping. That doesn't mean that it's still not important to hold them to the public interest standard. That's what we're going to have to do.
So we did elucidate and enumerate a number of statutes that could be used against ABC. If you would, Mr. Chairman, would you just explain for us what broadcasting in the public interest means? I don't think most people understand actually the depth of how important it is that ABC, NBC, CBS have these gratuitous broadcast privileges granted to them by the American taxpayer.
Yeah, the right way to sort of explain this to people so they understand it is in the media landscape as relevant here, there's two main buckets of actors. One, you've got what we call national programmers. So that's what Comcast is, Comcast NBC. That's what Disney is, Disney ABC. They're the ones that effectively create and produce these shows. They then provide those shows to individually licensed TV stations. And those TV stations are in the main owned by independent companies, independent from Comcast and Disney. But Disney and Comcast both own some televisions themselves. So start from the idea that you have national programmers that create the show, including the Kimmel Show, and then they're given to and distributed over licensed TV stations. It's the licensed TV stations that have the public interest standard, including those TV stations that Comcast and Disney own. So FCC regulatory action focuses on those individual stations. And one thing that we're trying to do is to empower those local stations to serve their own communities. And the public interest means you can't be running a narrow partisan circus and still meeting your public interest obligations. It means you can't be engaging in a pattern of news distortion. We have a rule on the book that interprets a public interest standard that says news distortion is something that is prohibited. Likewise, we have a rule that addresses broadcast hoaxes. And so, again, over the years, the FCC has stepped back from enforcing it. And I don't think it's been to the benefit of anybody. Just look at the credibility of these legacy media. It's absolutely through the floor. They used to be able to say at least they were more trustworthy than Congress, but now they're even less trustworthy than Congress. And so I think as a business matter for them, something has to change. And at the FCC, we need to reinvigorate this. So again, there's actions that we can take on licensed broadcasters. And frankly, I think that it's really sort of past time that a lot of these licensed broadcasters themselves push back on Comcast and Disney and say, listen, we are going to preempt. We are not going to run Kimmel anymore until you straighten this out, because we licensed broadcaster, are running the possibility of fines or license revocation from the FCC if we continue to run content that ends up being a pattern of news distortion. So I think, again, Disney needs to see some change here, but the individual licensed stations that are taking their content, it's time for them to step up and say, this, garbage, to the extent that that's what comes down the pipe in the future, isn't something that we think serves the needs of our local communities. But this sort of status quo is obviously not acceptable where we are.
You believe that what Jimmy Kimmel said rises to the level of news distortion?
Look, again, the FCC could be called upon to be an ultimate judge in that, but at this point, I think it's clear. It appears to be clear that you could make a strong argument that this is sort of an intentional effort to mislead the American people about a very core fundamental fact to a very important matter. At the end of the day, if we do get called upon to cast a vote on this, Disney will have a chance to put in their arguments and explain it. But this is a very, very serious issue right now for Disney.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, the commercials have gotten longer, haven't they? Hold on, let's go here. I want to show you guys something else that just Scott Jennings. You know how much I love Scott Jennings. Watch what he made a good point here, I guess. I haven't seen it yet. We're going to watch it right now because it just popped up.
Scott Jennings, you were at this table last night and you defended free speech. Tonight, we are seeing the FCC chairman explicitly threatening a company over speech that they don't like. You're good with it or not?
Well, I mean, Jimmy Kimmel's still free to speak. He just isn't necessarily free to do it on ABC, which obviously made a business decision. I see everybody rushing to blame the administration for this tonight. But you had Nexstar, which owns a bunch of ABC affiliates, and Sinclair Group, which owns a bunch of ABC affiliates, saying they were mad about what he did. I'm sure it generated massive numbers of viewer complaints into the affiliates. A smart TV person said the only thing you can't do in TV is piss off the affiliates. And I think that's what they did.
So then why did Brendan Carr have to say, we can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way? And then he went on to say that they can either censor Jimmy Kimmel or the FCC will have more work to do. And as you may know, Nexstar has business before the FCC. They have a deal to purchase to purchase another TV group, Tenga, for $6.2 billion. In order to do that, they need Brandon Carr to say, yes, you may own more TV stations than is legally allowed right now.
Oh my goodness, they're stretching. She's stretching. She's stretching. She is definitely stretching there. So after when I was watching this today, I posted this. I said, these Democrat politicians all must have gone to the school on how to sell timeshares. They ask a question they know you have to say yes to. They can use against you with their lies. It's not buy this timeshare, but buy my lies. That's how it is now. I'm not even going to play that one. Apparently a professor got mad today. Let's see what this is about.
Fuck this class. Fuck the
What's happening? He literally retired mid-lecture. My friends thought it'd be funny to airdrop him my
entire university. Fuck the job. Fuck all of you. Today's lecture to be able to answer which have current. What the fuck? I'll play. I'll accept it. MyProfABitch.com? Oh, that's funny as hell. Whatever their problem, it shouldn't have to be yours. Prof bitch. Go to lecture 4. Is this why you guys don't show up? Wait, it even made notes about my content? And then there's a summary of it? You don't even need me, do you? And you're getting flashcards and you're getting answers to everything? Who did this? Who up? I am retiring now. Fuck this class.
The Federal Trade Commission, not the federal, the FCC, huh? Okay, interesting. Joy Reid. We're not even gonna play this dumb chick. I wanted to see this because this happened yesterday, and I love Scott Jennings.
Talking about a love-torn child, a kid. This is probably his first real relationship. And somebody was disparaging the person that he loved. He sat on that building for 30 minutes before he took the shot. Why did he wait until the first word trans came up? Then he took the shot.
You think he heard it? He could hear it?
I think he could hear it. I think he also, I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally.
Yeah.
So now real quick, everybody says, they're saying, but you can't hear it up there. But here's the thing. This was live streamed somewhere. They said he had his phone up there. So but then that's still 30 seconds later. I don't know.
Guys, the evidence here is overwhelming. He said, Charlie Kirk, I can't stand this hate anymore. I'm going to take him out. The testimony from him and the statements of his family, he had become more left wing. He etched the statements that are made by the left about Republicans and conservatives and Charlie Kirk fascist on the bullet casings.
He made a joke about it in his last text.
Well, it doesn't sound like a joke to me because someone's dead and about to be buried.
Well,
so it doesn't sound like a joke to me. So I'm just telling you, there is an effort. There was an effort all weekend long on the left to try to make this guy sound like he was a conservative. That failed. That was passed around all over the weekend. That has now failed. The evidence has now come out. He was motivated by hate. He was motivated by left-wing radicalism. He got mixed up with some trans ideology in his life. We'll learn more about that, I'm sure, when more evidence and testimony comes out. We are looking around the edges of this for something other than what's staring us in the face. Left-wing radicalism got this kid. He went up to a roof and he murdered our friend, and that's what happened.
Let's Scott Jennings. Hit it on the nose. So here's what I find interesting. Michael Fanone, and of course Don Lemon's with him. He's wearing a Perry shirt. Granted, it's white, but he's wearing a Perry shirt. Do you think he's doing that for a reason? Because I do. But I didn't even watch this video. All I did was see him wearing that Perry, and I'm like, there's something interesting here. So let's watch this.
We can go toe to toe.
You guys want to kill me.
Whoa!
You guys
Listen,
want to kill me.
you say
left.
you
Yes,
say
you
you, but I'm not a Democrat.
Yeah.
I'm not a member of the left. I voted for Donald Trump in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I supported Donald Trump.
You're yelling, like you're screaming at me.
But he's Okay. he's upset. He's upset. Yeah.
But he's not a violent person.
You're asking me to tone down rhetoric as you
Okay,
yell at
all
me.
right, all
I
right.
mean, come
Well,
on.
we can spend all day long, but let's
I'm
talk
gonna
about
miss
this now.
Vote. But I'm happy to come down after and talk. But I got to go. I have 3 votes I got to go do.
Can I ask you something? And I don't mean it in
And why, why does he have to show up with Don Lemon there? Because he wanted to get it out and put it on the internet. Ted Cruz, let's hear this.
And we don't have a motive yet. We don't know yet. We're waiting. Obviously, we've heard what the governor's had to say, what the
Of
FBI
course we
director
know.
said today.
Come on, we don't have a motive yet.
We know.
We don't have a motive yet.
What's
Really?
happening with?
Really, that's CNN's position.
I mean, from law
He
enforcement,
just happened
Senator.
to fire the gun in celebration. You can't tell the motive. here.
Senator, that's not what I said. And I said law enforcement hasn't laid out a direct motive. They've laid out a lot of evidence here of these messages and what
Actually,
the
they
shooter
have.
said
They've
to
said that
family
he's a
members
left-wing
and to
activist who hated
roommates.
Charlie Kirk.
And we don't have a motive yet. We don't know.
Let's see, what else do we have? Islamic mayor tells Christians they're not welcome in Dearborn. And if you don't know, Dearborn, Michigan is where all the Muslims are in Michigan. Pretty much basically the whole town. It's so far Muslim that now even police officers on their patches are in Muslim or in Islamic text, I guess.
I mean, Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe. And although you live here, I want you to know as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city. Because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
Okay, real quick. So, Amuse did a little bit of clickbait here. He didn't tell Christians they're not welcome in Dearborn. He said this person was an Islamophobe and he would be happy an Islamophobe would not be there. I'm not saying this person's an Islamophobe, but, stretch. I like to be the person that tells you the truth, right? Let's see what this is. This is the Utah militia armed queer Salt Lake City. Ermia Feniayan is an Iranian transgender.
Some people say that it takes a violent protest to get people to listen. Do you agree, or should they remain peaceful?
I agree. I absolutely agree. I'm a member of the LGBTQ community, and our liberation and our rights came after the Stonewall riots. That's something that a lot of people don't like to talk about, is that, the LGBTQ movement started with Stonewall riots. I wouldn't even be able to be a student at this school if it wasn't for a violent riot that took place within a span of 3 days. So I absolutely agree that sometimes violent protests and really riots and those kinds of loud rebellions must take place for tangible change.
Shut up, baloney. Listen to this from Sean Ryan. Let's see what
You
this is all
have
about.
elected officials in California who are telling BlackRock that they will not allow them to manage the pension funds from the state of California unless they adopt this woke agenda.
As they vote their shares
Through all of the states.
Yes.
So they have to manage all of the pension funds in the same manner.
They have to vote the shares and speak as a shareholder in the boardrooms in the same manner. That's right. Because when BlackRock is buying shares in Pepsi or in Disney or in Target or in Nike, they speak with one voice, right? They don't speak with California's voice and then Ohio's voice and then Iowa's voice. No, they're speaking with one voice. So they're speaking on behalf of the voice that the biggest dog in their client base, CalPERS, is pushing them around to do. And it's not just CalPERS, it's the state of New York. It's European pension funds. It's Canadian pension funds. That's exactly what's driving the invisible hand of the market. No, it is the invisible hand of left-wing government.
You have elected officials.
And I don't doubt this at all. I mean, he's not showing proof, but I don't doubt this at all. Let's see what this young lady's saying. She looks young to me.
I think it's easy for people who are not a conservative. I know not everybody at this table is a conservative, but Charlie Kirk was murdered because he talked about God, family, country. Those are views that people like Scott and I hold dearly. If Charlie Kirk, a private citizen, can be targeted for those views, it makes us all feel like we have a target on our back. So it's easy for people who have constant security, who are in high places and don't think they're ever going to be targeted, to speak like this. But to the average conservative like myself, this is a scary time because one of our own was taken out. And I think what people have to realize about left-wing violence is it's not some made-up fantasy. There are 3 court cases going on today for assassinations: Luigi Mangione, Ryan Ruth, and Tyler Robinson. What do all three have in common?
I mean,
I mean,
there are lots of political
look,
trials for violence.
They're all left wing.
Yes,
hold
but
on,
there's
hold on a
also,
second.
obviously, we went through. I mean, look, I actually think this whole debate of there's right wing, there's left wing. We should all say, I don't know why it's so complicated to say political violence of any kind is wrong.
Of course.
But we have obviously had massive levels of political violence on the right. There's actually a Department of Justice.
Oh my goodness.
They suppressed an article about it.
Yeah, there's a DOJ deleted a study showing that domestic terrorists are most often right wing. And here's what that study said. Since 1990, far right extremists have committed far more ideologically
They can
motivated
read anything they
homicides than
want.
far left or radical Islamist extremists, including 227.
By Stephen Shermack, Matthew Demschel. I bet you if we look up, they're all conservative or liberals. I bet. We look up every one of those names. I bet you they'd be
that took more than
Democrats.
520 lives. In the same period, far left extremists committed 42 ideologically motivated attacks that took 78 lives. Now, what you're saying about those three cases is important and relevant. That those things happened, but I think we need to not confuse the most recent for the most common.
And she, of course, is a DEI hire, right? Bill to get. Who cares about this? Jerry, I've known this for a long time. Ben and Jerry's are big time liberals, and apparently they got bought out by a bigger company or something, maybe. And so now Jerry is mad, saying that they're telling him he needs to shut up on his rhetoric. And so let's watch
ice
this.
cream. Not gonna lie, we get this one a lot.
Yeah, we're in the ice cream business, but we've always been about much more than just ice cream. We use our power, our privilege, our platform, and our relationship with our fans to advocate for progressive social change. So no, we're not just going to stick to ice cream.
And we're never gonna stop trying to dismantle white supremacy, end the climate crisis, or fight for our democracy.
And no, we're not going to stop fighting laws that restrict trans rights, ban books, and roll back abortion.
And once again, why hold the microphone up here? It's a wireless mic. Why do you got to hold it up here like this?
Ice cream. Not gonna lie.
Our platform and our relationship with our fans to advocate for
who've been directly impacted by it is part of our DNA, and it has
What's up,
been
Mike
since
Jones?
we opened up our first scoop shop in Burlington, Vermont, back in 1978.
Ben and Jerry were two best friends who love making ice cream. But for them, the only reason to be in business was to do business differently.
Whether we're working with activists in St. Louis to close a racist and inhumane jail, or working to restore the right to vote for people who were formerly incarcerated in Florida, or turning up a delicious new flavor in support of refugee rights in the UK, being an activist company is who we are.
And we know our fans wouldn't want it any other way. Because while we love making the best possible ice cream in the best possible way, the world needs more than just great ice cream.
We don't pretend to always know the answers, but we partner with and take the lead from activists and allies who do.
And just so
we
you
hope
know, I have these exact microphones. They come with a wired mic that you can run up your shirt and hide.
Join us in taking action to support them. That's just who we are and who we've been for 45 years, and that's why we'll never.
Real quick, so let's see. Mike Jones says America is headed for a good old-fashioned civil war. I would like to actually take that to another level. I think we're coming to a world war. If you look in the UK, all the people are, they had a big, huge patriot movement this weekend. People are against the government now because they're all becoming Islamic, and Islam is taking over the UK. Australia, all of their citizens are upset with the left. All the countries, not all of them, but a lot of countries are coming out very upset, the people there, about how leftist that their countries are becoming and ruining their countries. So, I don't think there's going to be a civil war of one country. A world war of country against country. I think this is going to become a world war of conservatives against liberals. That's my thoughts on this. Gavin says, I hear Jimmy Kimmel is raging behind the scenes, claiming extreme government overreach. Sinclair Broadcasting is airing a Charlie Kirk special on their ABC stations instead in Jimmy Kimmel's spot. Yeah. He probably is. He's probably worried that he's going to lose his job next. Because as you're seeing, as more of the country starts understanding what the left is doing and how they're pushing their propaganda on news shows, on TV shows, on movies, that they are going to stop watching. And if they're not watching, then the TV channels are not making money. So that's why they're starting to get rid of all these liberal people that they have paid to be liberal on TV. So that just shows you, movie stars, you may get your money now. You're selling your country out to get your money now. And you're going to keep spending money. And guess what? You're not going to be able to spend that money later on because you're going to lose your job. Because they could care less about you. When you're making money, they care about you. The minute people start getting mad at you for coming out as liberal, they're not going to talk to you as much anymore because you're ruining their bottom line. That's just my opinion, folks. And once again, it's an opinion. So the UK is rolling out the ultimate red carpet. And I can see people saying things on both sides here. Some people are going to say, well, they're doing that because they want to keep their prince out of the Epstein file list, right? They might be saying that. You know, I mean, they're saying this is the biggest welcome that any president has ever received. Maybe they're saying that because they want to get on President Trump's good side. I don't know. So this young lady, I'm trying to do less Charlie Kirk stuff, but this is important. This rock right here, somebody painted an American flag on there. You can see it here, an American flag. And they painted a prayer to Charlie Kirk. And then this young lady comes up and does this.
Just so you guys know, I'm fully religious too. We know. It's good to know you don't respect your father. Oh, I do, but Charlie Kirk is definitely not the morals I support or the religion I support, where you're just taught to love your neighbor, not hate your neighbor.
And girl, if you're gonna wear a necklace around your belly, don't make it show off that you're a little on the heavier side. I mean, she's a beautiful looking woman, but she's an idiot. And that little chain does not help.
Yeah, this is not love your neighbor. Okay. If you disagree, if you love your neighbor, this is loving your neighbor. I'm not gonna love a man who doesn't even. You're not loving your neighbor. You said you're not loving your neighbor. You're right. I'm not judging. It is not my right to judge, but it is also not your right to judge either. No, we're here protecting somebody. We're not here judging, and we're not the ones. If we were.
And what my question is this: this is the problem with people on the right. We follow the law, and I'm not saying that they should be hurting this woman, but they should be trying to stop her from what she's doing instead of just filming her. I would try and stand in front of this. I would lean my back on it so she couldn't paint over it. I would have done something like that so this person could not have painted over that like she's doing. This is the problem with the right. They don't stand up. They just film. Stop just filming and stand up and actually do something. Like I said, all you had to do was just lean up against this rock so she couldn't paint over it. That's all you had to do. But nobody did that.
Judging would be taking your paint can and dumping it on you, but we're not. Because someone has to pay. I paid all this time. It will, hopefully. If not, it's a price I gotta pay. Yeah, I am sorry. I did not mean to step on any of the flags. I will admit that. I am sorry. I don't think I did step on those. I only came over here. Yeah, the paint covering the flags. All my friends in Chapel Hill are going to be like, it's iconic.
Go Girly Pop.
Miss Chapel Hill. Miss education.
And I appreciate that, Boris. I appreciate that.
She was pushing people out of the way.
So, yeah. Okay, so I haven't even heard what he said. So let's hear what he says.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House. which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years, and it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth
Nothing
stage of
super
grief,
crazy yet.
construction. It's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, I'll be honest. Okay, we saw that last night. Let's see what anything new popping up real quick. Let's see if anything new is popping up. Gotta follow this person back. There's no such thing as free speech under Donald Trump's reign. This is lies from Gavin Newsom. There is free speech. People are allowed to say whatever they want, but if their employer wants to fire them for that, then that's them. You took that risk. You said what you wanted. You got to say it. So it is free speech. Let's see. Assassination is not karma from Greg Abbott. Teachers who are this detached from civility in our society have no place in our schools. This is added to the investigation by the Texas Education Agency. What did they say? Karma found them. Brian Krasenstein says, I am Antifa. Interesting. That's not going to go well for you. Oh, yeah. Remember when they tried to ruin this kid's life? And then he sued him and got like millions and millions of dollars? A Fox News host says homeless people should be executed. I doubt that happened at all. I'd like to see proof of it. You notice he doesn't have proof of it. He just shows it. He's just showing it. What's this? News Nation Hold called the Post. Let's see. Liberal immediately tries to fight Charlie Kirk. Yeah, we're not gonna. I'm trying to avoid the Charlie Kirk stuff for a while. Wow, look at Keith Olbermann. He's just a piece of shit too. ABC, The View goes right back to being toxic TV. Elephant in the room is that we're screwed. I hope they are. Get him off the air. Well, let's see what this douchebag has to say.
Jimmy Kimmel, they're trying to cancel Jimmy Kimmel. I'm sure you've heard the news by now. But I've been going through the internet looking for the clips to see what they're mad or upset about, and I can't find it. These are I can't find it. The one that they have on there, I don't see where that's even controversial. The guy's a comedian. This is the same party, the same group of people who complained about everything is too woke. Comedians can't say anything anymore. They're killing comedy. The folks who are complaining about killing comedy are killing comedy. The folks who are complaining about canceling people are canceling people. What does that tell you?
And so from what we just saw, I don't think it was extremely bad. But here, like people have said, they've been trying to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel for a while because his views are going down, and they took this advantage to do it. Should he have made that joke? Probably not, but he did. It's a comedian. You know, it wasn't funny to me, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Let's say it that way. Sean Hannity doesn't think Donald Trump is a prominent conservative voice. Anyways. First Colbert, we don't even want to hear Pocahontas. Yeah, I don't agree with this. Time to start locking up Democrats and their donors. We've all had enough. That's not a solution either, by any means. By any means. Let's see if there's anything else before we get going. Yeah, we talked about this one the other day. Who cares about Pritzker? Anderson claimed Republicans are censoring Americans after Republicans didn't censor him. ABC fired him. It's not Republicans censoring him. I get that, Gavin, but in the clip we just saw, he didn't say it. In the clip we just saw, he didn't say it. I'm not sticking up for it. The dude's a piece of shit. I'm just trying to be level-headed here, you know, trying to be a voice of reason. Let's see what else we can find. Two hours ago. Wait a minute. Suicide or murder. Member Congress is having an affair with the staffer. The husband finds out. The member pays $125,000 in hush money. Husband then files for divorce. The estranged wife is home alone and is found lit on fire in her front yard, saying she doesn't. Interesting. I don't know who that is, but well, I didn't hear that. Then, let's play the freaking thing over again.
We had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was...
Okay, he called him one of them. Well, I'm just saying, you know, because you know what, we got to realize whatever we start doing, if the Democrats aren't already doing it, then they're going to start doing it too. They're going to open that. We're opening up a can of worms. Okay. Anyways, I just saying it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Okay. But anyways, I'm not going to argue with you guys. I'm just stating my opinion. Jasmine Crockett, F her. Candace Owens is now alleging that Pam bought. So what's... I don't know. I know there was something going on with Candace Owens. Was it with Ben Shapiro or was it with Charlie Kirk? Because she is... You know, what's going on with Candace Owens now all of a sudden? She's kind of strayed pretty far off. And has she been attacking Charlie Kirk too? Here, let me see what she's saying right here.
Yeah, these messages are clearly doctored, is what I would say. They're doctored. Now, they could decide why they're doing that. Tyler's being forthcoming. We're protecting him in some capacity. I find that to be unacceptable. Okay? Unacceptable. I want every single text message. I want timestamps. It is conspicuous that you are not telling us when this was sent, because it sounds like it's when the campus is on lockdown. It's the same thing they did with the J6 people. He's got to go back and he's got to clean up. And then all of a sudden we're in the next day when his dad is getting clued in after the picture's been released. They're not telling us that, okay? And you have a right to be a little bit uncomfortable about that, because I'm a lot of bit uncomfortable about that.
What the heck was that? I heard a loud noise. She does make a good point there. It is crazy. Okay, so Gavin says she was blaming the Jews for Charlie Kirk. She doesn't like Ben. She likes Charlie and she doesn't like Ben. Okay. We got 19 more states. We're going to invoke Article 5, dissolving the Constitution and write a new one. Write a new one without the Dems, all nice and legal. Okay, now that's something that scares me too, because if we do that and write it only for Republicans, then what happens when the Democrats do it? And then they, because you know what scares me? The Republicans, they don't have spines. They don't stand up. They don't. Look at how many Republicans today. 4 Republicans voted to keep Ilhan Omar in all her committees. The Republicans in Congress right now are all spineless. So they may write that, but then right afterwards, now that I see that, I saw a post earlier that says the Democrats are going to write their own too. And now I get what they were meaning when they said that. So then the Democrats are going to write their second, and it might put all of us in concentration camps. They want to talk about concentration camps. Maybe that's what they're going to do to us. That's what scares me. we have to find a common ground between both of them. Just saying. You know, because then we're turning into Hitler, Mike, and you might disagree with it, but we can't just make America only for conservatives. That's not right either, you know. And I'm not becoming spineless. I'm just saying, you're opening up a can of worms, and then the Democrats are going to do it, and the Democrats fight. You know, there's an old skit from Seinfeld, and Elaine walks in and he says, Elaine, who would win in a fight, Jerry or me? And George Costanza was saying that. And she says, George will win. And I say, why? He fights dirty. The Democrats fight dirty. The Republicans don't. And that's why we're losing. That's why we're losing. Because the Democrats fight dirty and the conservatives don't. Just saying. We saw that the other night. Just go to the home screen because that shows everyday people. I don't trust the home screen as much because there's no facts behind it. Now, before you celebrate Jimmy Kimmel getting fired for saying vile things about the assassinated Charlie Kirk, remember that there are a lot of regular people employed by a show like that. Whatever. Roseanne Barr says, yeah, imagine an administration putting pressure on a television channel to fire a comedian they didn't like. Because they did that to Roseanne. He voted to protect the excuse Representative Ilhan Omar for mocking the murder of Charlie Kirk. Let them know your thoughts. Rolling Stones is now confirming what we knew happened with Jimmy. In the hours leading up to the decision to pull, two sources familiar with the matter say senior executives at ABC, its owner Disney, and affiliates had emergency meetings to figure out how to minimize the damage. Multiple execs felt that Kimmel had not actually said anything over the line, and two sources say, but the threat of Trump administration reality loomed. Oh, what's this? Let's hear this real quick.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't even let him give me a Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah.
That's how little I feel about people. I don't know.
Well, and a MAGA supporter is like
calling you
oh,
right now.
I got it.
Somebody's.
I fixed
it. Tell that MAGA man, leave you alone.
Shut up, bitches. Let's see. Republicans last MAGA runs. She party now. Republicans lost MAGA runs. The She Party now. Oh, MAGA runs the party now, I'm guessing you're saying. I figured I'd have to protest in front of these mentally ill. I'm stopping up. Plenty mag. So Boris is stocking up. Good, get rid of Schumer. She's a joke. Michael Savage says, I was fired by MSNBC and dropped by 300 radio stations who came to my defense. But I went on podcasts. Yeah, this guy is like insanely rich. Meet Representative McClintock. He voted to protect, and this is who I voted for. I mean, yeah, I actually did vote for him, yes. And this is my congressman. And I'm almost but 100% sure now after this today that I'm going to run for Congress against him. I'm coming for your seat, Representative McClintock. I think did I post it on here, I think? I thought I posted it somewhere. A couple times. Jimmy Kimmel is livid over ABC's pulling live. So what? My mail, what is mail? My mail ordered Charlie Kirk's favorite Starbucks drink, but the cup came back with loser written on it. Let's see what this is.
All right, we're heading in. Which cup? It's one of these guys. This is the morning crew right here. It's one of these guys. Was it you? Did you write loser on my mom's cup yesterday? No? Not you? Who does the mobile orders? You do the mobile orders? Were you working yesterday morning?
Sorry?
Were you working yesterday morning? Did you write loser on my mother's cup when she ordered a tea 24 hours ago? I don't know why you're smiling right now.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I told you, I don't want corporate bureaucracy. I want immediate action. Braden, were you working yesterday morning? Did you write loser on my mother's cup?
I don't know.
Do you know who did?
I don't.
It's odd, isn't it?
I'm sorry.
It's odd, isn't it? Pretty odd.
Odd.
Odd that you don't know who would write that.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I can attest to that no one who is out here right now is here.
Oh shit. She just said she was here, and she just said she was here yesterday morning. You just... I'm done. We're looking for not corporate bureaucracy.
Right.
I want immediate accountability.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
And if not, I will have this whole intersection lined with patriots today.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking.
I don't think that you are.
I'm not. That's my mother.
Mr. Nice Guy should go over there to that one. Don Lemon. Waiting for his interview with Piers Morgan on Piers Morgan Uncensored. I stand with Jimmy Kimmel. Who's Chris Jackson? The Patel family is under attack by radical Democrats. Okay. What is that? What is that? Are those chaps? Is that what she's wearing, chaps? I don't know. Air traffic control had to scream at Spirit Airlines, who was getting close to Air Force One. Students walk out over employees' Kirk comments. Good. This lady's just an idiot. Celebrities including Cillian Murphy, Joaquin Phoenix, Billie Eilish, and Javier Bardem appear in Together for Palestine video. You know, they can do whatever they want, but Newsom snuck that stupid mileage tax into the budget. Did it pass? You know what? You would think I would know living here in California. I don't. No, it did pass. It did pass because, like, diesel for me the other day at Costco, which is normally the cheapest in town, was like $4, and I kept the receipt. Let me look real quick. It was. I paid $150 for diesel the other day, and I have a 30-gallon tank. So, and I wasn't completely empty. So what? Let's see, 150. Even 150 divided by 30 gallons. Wait, no, I have maybe a 29 gallon. But 150 divided by 30, that's $5 a gallon, right? Almost $5 a gallon. Yeah, 3 times 5 is 15. He sent Mr. Nice Guy a video about one of his senators working against ICE. Supposedly the story hasn't got out yet. So you sent it in case he didn't know. Right on, Boris. Right on. Right on. How to break a liberal's brain in under 20 seconds.
You know that Donald Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago in 2006. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
And the Democrats never brought up Epstein, never talked about the Epstein files until Elon Musk posted this. And Bill Clinton was massaging the girl on the plane. You know that, right? The people you look.
We don't want to do Crockett. Let's see. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen tells Susan Ramirez that the meeting where she was fired by Kennedy was recorded. Let's see what this is. That's 5 minutes long. Called FBI Director Kash Patel political enforcer. Blah, 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 blah. That lady got fired. And the James made video celebrating. No, I don't want to do this Charlie Kirk stuff. Let the man live in peace. Pray for him. Pray for his family. But stop sharing. If you keep sharing these people that are and trying to get them fired, they're going to keep posting this stuff. And I agree, they should be fired. They shouldn't work for companies. The company shouldn't want people like that to work for them. It's just these videos. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting overwhelmed with them. Android, commie. They're showing a lot of Jimmy Kimmel stuff now. Let's shift thing. We don't want to hear that. He couldn't care less about uniting Americans. Whatever. Lola's Tacos. See, I don't know. You know, this is just somebody talking about Verizon and they're sharing it. I don't know how true that is. You know what I mean, Gavin? I mean, come on, dude. You know what I mean. The refinery is about to shut down next month. Gas is going to go. What refinery is shutting down, Mike? What refinery is shutting down? I wish that, you know, the View is. I can't believe people still watch The View with all their lies. People just don't use their brains. All right, it's after 8 o'clock. We've been on for like 2 hours. Thank y'all for being here. Hope you have a better day. Hope it gets better for you. Oh, is it the Chevron there in Cali? A lot, you know, it's so expensive to refine oil here in California that most of the oil that we get comes from other countries here, and we are in California where there's a lot of oil. So it might be. All right, good night, guys. Thank you, Boris, Mike Jones, Gavin Newsom, and all the other people. Boris, if I didn't say your name, and all the other people that are just watching. Thank you for being here. We'll be back on tomorrow. And wish me well, because tomorrow I'm going to see a neurologist for my spinal bifida. And I haven't seen a neurologist in probably 40 years. So it's going to be interesting to see what this man says about my spinal bifida. Like my stepdad said, there's new stuff coming every day, and maybe there's some new stuff to help my disability out. I also know that most people that have my exact type of spinal bifida need some kind of a shunt thing put in their brain. So that might be a possibility too. So please pray that that's not one of the outcomes that I'm going to need. So we'll catch y'all tomorrow. I'll keep you guys in touch. And thank you guys. Philip 66. Okay, Philip 66. I'll have to look into that, Mike, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. Good night, y'all. Good night, Boris, Gavin, Mike. Get some if you're still here, and Gavin and everybody else. Good night, y'all. Wait, you should do this on the way out. This is Mr. Nice Guy, by the way.